We did a service audit on Midas. I'm Tyson Miller, and in my group is Wallace Frampton, Meredith Hartfield, Lexi Norfleet, and Sam Griffin. So for the agenda today, we're going to go over the background of the company and then show you the waiting line analysis that we did and customer and management gap that we found from our questionnaires, and we'll show you that questionnaire that we gave to customers, and then provide Midas with a few recommendations to improve their services. So a little bit about the company and store background. They started as Midas Mufflers in 1956 in Macon, Georgia, specializing in replacing mufflers. Currently, they are one of the largest automotive service providers and now offer all types of services from oil changes to brake and suspension replacement. There are 2,000 stores worldwide, and 1,300 of those are in the U.S. and Canada. As for the Midas that we observed on 2701 Millwood Avenue in Columbia, South Carolina, it is the first of many stores that the franchise owner, Mr. Herlong, brought and grosses out the most revenue, and believes that this store grosses out the most revenue of every other store that he owns. He believes this stems from the excellent customer service and sense of trust in this particular store. So as you can see, there is not much overlap between the new customers arriving and previous customers getting their services completed, which makes sense and lines up with the excellent quality of service that customers reported in their surveys. There was no gap between management and the customer when it came to the reason for visit. All four managers indicated they believe the primary reason people came to Midas was for an oil change, which correlates with all but 3 of the surveys, citing oil change for the primary reason of visit. However, the gap is noticed when you look at the 3 surveys that indicated another reason for an oil change, and for their reason, another reason other than oil change for their reason to visit. All of the managers but one, who gave a 4, gave a 5 to the question, the price you paid was reasonable based on the services performed. For all 3 of the surveys that cited a different reason for that visit other than oil change, they selected a 3 or below for that same question. For another aspect of customer and management gaps, there were no gaps regarding facilities or the atmosphere, yet there was a gap between customer and management regarding whether or not the customer would visit any Midas location again. What was interesting, however, is that among the customers, this question had an average score of around 3.14, meaning they would prefer to only visit this Midas. That does not come as an absolute surprise, as 77% of the customers we surveyed were returning customers. The following questionnaire was given to customers and members of the Midas staff to gauge customer satisfaction as well as discover any gaps in the perceptions of customers at Midas. So at first we asked them a little bit about just themselves in general and how, with their car care, and then asked why they were there, and then how satisfied they were with the service and atmosphere on a scale of 1 to 5. So we believe that Midas, our first recommendation to Midas is to reassist pricing on services other than oil changes. On the customer surveys, we found that customers were receiving an oil change were satisfied with the price Midas charged. But for the other various services at Midas, the customer satisfaction for the price charged was relatively poor. We believe that the management of Midas should evaluate and reconsider the current pricing on services other than oil changes. Another recommendation is improving the customer service experience. Midas should make the passive wait time for customers as enjoyable as possible, which will encourage returning and loyal customers. We believe that implementing these changes will greatly better the customer experience during the idle time that customers experience while their vehicle is being serviced at Midas, that will in the long run increase customer satisfaction and in turn cause more people to return to this particular Midas.